Stefan Keese é diretor para o segmento automotivo da Roland Berger Strategy Consultants, uma das principais firmas mundiais de consultoria do setor automotivo. Como o Stefan ainda não domina completamente o português, nós vamos fazer a entrevista com ele em inglês. Stefan, how a foreigner consultant sees the Brazilian automotive sector? Which are the main challenges ahead?
Look, I don't know if being a foreigner gives you a different view on the Brazilian market, but at Roland Berger, with the global network that we have a very good understanding of all the different automotive markets around the world. And if we compare Brazil with some of the other markets, we see that Brazil is a very attractive market. It's one of the most attractive markets around the world, with tremendous growth opportunities. We are already today the fourth largest market in the world here, and it will continue that way with 5, 6, 7% annual growth in the next years. But at the same time, there are challenges that Brazil needs to face in terms of cost competitiveness, in terms of lack of sufficient technology of the local supply base, in terms of innovation capability of the industry, lack of engineers and other things that need to be overcome in order to continue the growth, in order to continue to develop the local industry and be able to leverage the size and the growth potential that we have here in Brazil. Otherwise, if there's no improved competitiveness in the Brazilian market compared with other countries around the world, there's the danger that more and more vehicles will come imported from other countries, be it from Asia, be it from Mexico, be it from Europe. And this, of course, will slow down the growth of the Brazilian national industry with all the effects that come, jobs, taxes, and of course also a positioning in the global environment.
You just said Brazil is one of the most attractive markets in the world. If you see all the attractive markets we have in the world today, automotive markets, in which position would you put Brazil today?
In terms of size?
Yes, in terms of size, and in terms of position of attractiveness, if there is, if this is a question.
Well, in terms of size, Brazil is the fourth largest vehicle market in terms of sales, and it's currently the sixth largest market in terms of production. The production will continue to grow, and we see Brazil being in the fifth, potentially even in the fourth position in the medium to long term.
So Brazil is just a great automotive market?
Exactly.
Or also a big power in production too?
It is becoming a bigger and bigger power in production, but without export, it's hard to really be a major power, as you call it. In order to look at the Chinese market today is 12 million vehicles, and the forecasts are that the Chinese market will grow to about somewhere 16, 17, 18 million vehicles nationally. In addition, there will be a significant portion of exports, which means that the Chinese market will, in the next 10 years, probably account for 20-25% of global automotive production. Here, Brazil is very far away from this. We are, at the moment, a national market, relatively isolated from the rest of the world. On the contrary, other car makers located in other countries are seeing the opportunities in Brazil, are grasping the opportunities, but not necessarily with setting up production here, but with importing both of auto parts and of complete vehicles. And this, of course, is something that if you talk about attractiveness and if you talk about Brazil as an automotive power, has an adverse effect on the future industry.
How Brazil could recover vehicle exports? What must be done? Do you think it's possible to bypass the unfavorable exchange rate?
Generally, yes, no doubt. Look at Europe, for example. In Europe, the euro against other currencies, be it the US dollar, be it the renminbi, be it the Japanese yen, was very strong. But still, in the last couple of years, Europe exported a significant portion of vehicles to countries all around the world. Why? Because they are providing technology at a price that you cannot get anywhere else in the world. What we have here in Brazil is not so much a disadvantage in terms of currency. We have a disadvantage in terms of attractiveness for other countries. The cars that are being produced here are, to a large extent, popular cars, the small cars, A and B segment, which is not a problem. It's a market characteristic. But within these popular cars, the Brazilian-produced cars are generally relatively expensive, and they have a relative low level of technology. Plus, because they are very often adaptations of cars that came from Europe, US, Japan, and they are one model, sometimes even two models behind the global standard, so they are relatively old in terms of design, in terms of safety, in terms of security, and so on. So not many other markets are interested to buy these vehicles. And without a change in the portfolio, having more modern vehicles, more technology in the cars at more attractive production cost, I think it will be very difficult for Brazil to recover the exports.
Brazilian auto parts suppliers are always challenging production bottlenecks. Do you think this industry is making money enough to invest in production modernization and innovation?
Oh, absolutely. The Brazilian supplier industry is one of the most profitable supplier industries in the world. If you compare the level of profitability in Brazil with Europe, with the US, with China, with Japan, here we have 1 to 2 percentage points of revenue higher profitability than in other regions. But still, suppliers are not investing enough. Why is that? For one, many suppliers are, let's say, still a little bit afraid that the current very stable growth may slow down, and we run into a similar situation like we had 10 years ago. We believe that this scenario is relatively unlikely, given the structural reforms, given the macroeconomic stability of Brazil. We see a relatively safe trend. But this message needs to arrive at the suppliers. At the same time, especially the smaller and medium-sized suppliers, they don't generate enough cash, despite a good profitability, to support growth and to support new investments, especially investments that are not reactive to the demands from the OEMs, but that are anticipating the current capacity buildup that's being done by the OEMs. And to loan money from the banks, especially for the smaller and medium-sized companies, is unaffordable at current interest rates. Mm-hmm. So what we need is a kind of a program to support especially the small, medium-sized automotive supply sector, to help them in financing new investments, and thereby creating the capacity that is needed to meet the OEM capacity increases. We have, in the next couple of years, we are seeing a capacity increase of the OEMs by roughly 1 million vehicles, which means nearly 20-25%. We have the automotive supplier industry already today at 93% capacity utilization, which is, as a matter of fact, beyond full capacity. So if the supply industry does not very quickly start to increase its capacity, the OEMs will be forced to look for new sources abroad, will start import, will possibly realize that imported parts can be are competitive in terms of price, and then will not switch back to the supply industry. So that revenue may be lost, or that revenue potential may be lost to the Brazilian supplier industry forever.
I see. Thank you very much, Stefan, for your interview for us.
It's been a pleasure.